Hi everyone and welcome to more Wet Rock and Chocolate Milk. This little piece of paradise is Pwll Y Cwm in South Wales. It's my buddy's first time here, so I'm on line duty. As you may have noticed, I tied off in the open air on this dive. We rarely do that to prevent people who shouldn't be in a cave from trying to follow our lines. My buddy also wondered why we did this, but seeing the visibility, or lack thereof, he quickly figured out why. Sometimes conditions are simply so tropical that to ensure you make it back to the surface, it's best to tie off on the surface. Here in Pwll Y Cwm, it's actually fine to do either way. The entrance to the cave is restricted, so you won't accidentally swim into the cave. It's also very unlikely for anyone to just randomly walk by and decide to go swimming and following your line. And even if they do so, well, they'll have to dive some 20 meters down and squeeze through a restriction to be in any danger. Visibility today was so incredibly good that I didn't even see any of the climbing anchors on the descent that were placed for better line routing. So to ensure the line remains tidy, especially through the upcoming restriction, I decided to tie another secondary tie-off on this conveniently placed rock here. We are still in the open water at this point, though deep enough for this to be practically a night dive. And off we go to the cave entrance. This way into the cave isn't actually the original entrance. The original way in is a place called Elm Hole, a scooch down river. But that place is far less convenient as a dive base. The entrance we are diving today had to be cleared from debris before it became diveable. This entrance still needs regular clearing, especially every spring, to the point where you expect to do a bit of work digging yourself into the cave and sometimes on the way out as well. It's basically all because of these pebbles you can see on the floor. As the floor is slanted down into the cave, the pebbles and any other debris brought by the river keep accumulating in the entrance restriction. Well, there we are. The restriction wasn't actually all that bad on this dive. This is all down to another buddy of mine having dived Pwll Y Cwm a week earlier, but I didn't know that on the dive. So I was just happy that I only needed to shift a few pebbles to make enough space to fit. My buddy on this dive actually didn't even realize I slowed down, but I did not fit without moving some rocks. And here's my buddy entering Pwll Y Cwm for the first time. Welcome to our little hobbit hole. While he is contemplating his life choices, let's talk a bit about the cave itself. Pwll Y Cwm is the terminal sump of the Darren system. Darren is fairly notorious for having an entrance series that is so incredibly inviting that people don't even install a gate to keep people out who shouldn't be there. In short, the other way into the cave is a kilometer of miserable crawling. Clearly, this way is a much more enticing way in. It also means that, should anything go wrong, there is air on the other end of this 650-meter long sump and an alternative way out. Although that alternative is a good 8 hours of dry caving and has a kilometer crawl at the end. I'd much rather someone get me some more cylinders should I get stuck there. Fairly close to the beginning of the main line, there are two T's. We'll be sticking to the left, following the main line towards Darren. Both T's connect to the same point, by the way, and form a little loop. But more importantly, they both also lead to Elm Hole, which is yet another way out of the system, should something happen to the main entrance. Although Pwll Y Cwm has an entrance restriction for which beginner-friendly may not be the description of choice, the rest of the cave, if you don't venture into the Elm Hole branch, is wide and open. At least, that is what I've been told, because I'm yet to come here with enough visibility to see. It does make for some good cave diving though, just like doing a blindfold drill in France, Florida, or Mexico. Point in case, my buddy mentioned after the dive that, so far, this has been his favorite UK cave. Shortly after the second tee, we come to one of the great landmarks of Pwll Y Cwm. This rock and tie-off combination are very distinctive and at the deepest part of the cave at about 23 meters. So, on the way in, you know it will shallow up now, though very slowly to begin with. On the way back, you've only got about 35 meters left, so you know you're close to home. Another really nice thing about Pwll Y Cwm are these distance markers. There's one every 50 meters, and they're actually not as common in the UK as in other countries. Eventually, we get to a point where the line is trapped under some sand. I try to gently free it and even dig it out, but can't quite manage. Also, in the case of a full silt out, the continuation is in reach, so not worth risking breaking the line. I move past and make my buddy aware of it. This is also the point where my buddy turns the dive. As it's his first time here, we've been diving with reasonably small cylinders. I got a pair of 7s, he has a pair of 8.5s. So he is about to hit his thirds and decides now's as good a time as any to head back. It's also a great time to gauge visibility. We're looking at about half a meter to a meter today. This low visibility is quite fun in my opinion. When you get close to your buddy in front, you start seeing the glow of their light or fin tips trying to jump scare you. Here we've just passed the 50-meter marker, so only about 15 meters to go until we reach the landmark corner again. I usually estimate a swimming speed of about 10 meters per minute for gas planning, though I expect to do more about 15 meters per minute when I'm just cruising along. It should therefore take about a minute from the marker to the corner. Video playback says it took me 56 seconds for this distance. Looks like I was spot on my estimate today. As I pick up my line markers, we can also get a nice view of my buddy's pigtail with the clothes packs on them. Most of our UK lines are just too thick for normal cookies, so it is common to use clothes packs instead. While my buddy uses a so-called pig's tail, which is just a piece of bungee and a bolt snap really, I tend to use my pigtail only for actual cookies and arrows. I store my line markers on the computer bungee instead. And as soon as that, we're back at the entrance restriction. This time, it's on my buddy to head through first, so if there's any more digging to do, he can do the work to get us out. Although, he clearly seems reluctant. Come on, I got us into here, you can get us out. Back in the open water, and during our safety stop, my buddy motions for me to look up. The tannic water and the sun leave us with a nice demonic lighting effect. It's truly spectacular. The camera really doesn't do it justice.